All right, big news coming in right now. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has spoken to the Civil Aviation Minister even as this crisis is festering. Some mitigating action has been taken by the government through the DGCA. Aviation watchdog stepping in, and DGCA has withdrawn a part of the pilot rest order, with the Home Minister also now stepping in and speaking to the Civil Aviation Minister. But for now, things will take some time to ease out, because the real crisis is not what's happening at the back end. It is what to do with the people who have no clarity, no communication. They are worried about where they are going to go next. And that really remains the real problem at present. The bottleneck is about people simply not knowing what to do next.
You know, I think the government also is really firefighting at this juncture, because irrespective of the number of steps that they are taking, and they've started taking these steps to withdraw or to postpone or to hold in abeyance some of the new safety regulations till the 10th of February, despite the steps being taken, the system is in free fall, right? Let's accept that. Now, what happened last night is that they announced that many of the steps that they had announced for flight duty time limitation rules, the rest hours, the number of flights that you could operate at night, etc., they were going to, on the request of Indigo, hold those in abeyance till the 10th of February. Now they've come out with one more order on leave and rest hours, right? Holding that particular thing in abeyance. In other words, giving the airline more of an opportunity to work with the number of pilots who they actually have. This is a crisis because these airlines do not have, Indigo particularly, does not have the number of pilots it requires to meet the new guidelines. So they brought back these guidelines. One new guideline has been brought back today. But Padmaja and Vedika, the point is, by the time this eases the pressure on the airline, we don't know how long. As of today, networking and scheduling across India's largest airline is in complete freefall.
No, I'm just going to say it bluntly. What is stopping Indigo from putting all its people out there on the airports? They should be there at the counter saying, look, there is a problem. We're going to help you out. The least they could do, and I think that is the real issue we are facing at present, Vedika, where people come up against a wall. They have got no intimation. Akhilesh Sharma is joining us live on this story now. Akhilesh, the Home Minister has stepped in. He's spoken to the Civil Aviation Minister. What are the next steps discussed, the immediate steps?
Well, the government has taken a very serious view of this entire crisis created by Indigo. The government sources are telling us that in June, this notification was issued, and the Indigo was given 6 months' time to set its house in order. But despite that, they started recruiting only a few days back. So that actually raises serious questions. And the government has intervened. We have been told by the sources that Home Minister Amit Shah has intervened in this matter. Civil Aviation Minister Mr. Naidu has spoken to Mr. Amit Shah, and after that, this decision was taken that this order was kept in abeyance. And there's also a suggestion by a few MPs who have actually raised this issue in Parliament that some sort of penalty should be imposed on Indigo so that such mistakes are not repeated in the future. At least 10% of the aircraft should be grounded, so that some messages sent to the airline for this kind of violation, because this has created chaos and ruckus in the entire country. So the government is very serious on this issue, and there's demand by the MPs that some sort of action should be taken by the government against Indigo Airlines also.
That's a very, very significant point that Akhilesh Sharma is telling us about, the fact that the top leadership of the government had to intervene. That's when the DGCA order came on the pilot rest rules, which, by the way, Indigo had plenty of time to implement, but they simply did no planning, and it has led to this kind of effect.
So am I wrong in saying that Indigo hasn't blinked first in this case?
Yeah, they haven't. I mean, basically they said, fine, you have told us to implement the rules, we are not going to do it. And when things get really bad, ultimately it will be the government who has to take a step back. And that's what has happened, Akhilesh. In that sense, like you mentioned, they had all this time since the middle of this year up till we're in December now. And they just sat on their hands.
That's correct. In fact, if you go through the timeline, it says very clearly that enough time, the sufficient time was given to the airline to take the necessary steps which are required as per the DGCA directions, and the airline had enough, plenty of time, but they did not act. This is what many MPs have raised at this point. Many MPs have actually complained to the civil aviation ministers because they have been getting reports and complaints from their different constituencies that people are suffering because of the cancellation of Indigo flights. And after that, they were told that enough time was given to Indigo. This notification was issued in June, and now we are in December. So 6 months have passed, but since then, Indigo has not done any action. He has not taken any action to abide by this notification, and that's what has led to this crisis. And as I mentioned earlier, there's a suggestion that some sort of stern action should be taken against Indigo so that it does not repeat such kind of mistakes in the future.